That was 3, 2,
1.
What? What's going on,
What's going on, y'all? What it do? What it do?
A little thing that we call the Cipher. I am your host, Marcus the Kid Warren, and with me is my man Muff. How you doing today,
Muff,
sir?
Man, I'm doing well. Thanks for you guys in the internet universe that have been keeping up with us.
Yes.
Trying to find out what's going on. I've been trying to, via the Facebook, hit you guys with a couple of gems here and there just to keep you or tide you over to the next, internet show.
Yes, sir.
So here we are. Ready to get it in.
New
year. We got some new beats, new joints that we want to go over.
New beats we want to go over.
How are we going to set it off, man?
We're going to set it off like this. I almost felt like that dude in public access. Dude be like, and Jesus said, read. And Jesus said to him. Anyway, we're not on that right now.
Kids Comedy, ladies and gentlemen. He's here.
No, I'm not trying to be
Saturdays
funny.
for 1 hour.
Yeah, thank you very much. But anyway, what we're going to get into right now.
Okay,
we're going to get into somebody who was my number 2 MC.
You did have a measure number 2 MC.
Yes, I did.
That's kind of another discussion because I love him like you love him.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2. Wow.
Number two.
Who is he? Who we talking?
Talib Kweli. Talib Kweli.
All right.
But anyway, some of y'all might remember him from way in the back. He did a lot of stuff for, did a lot of cameos on a lot of different albums.
Started off with Sound Bombing. That's when I first heard him with Sound Bombing 1, him and Most Def.
Yes.
And they kind of laced that thing, man, with Universal Magnetic. Well, actually Universal Magnetic was Most Def. But Talib, and this is like 1999 when I first got on him like that. Then on Sound Bombing 2, him and Most Def went in on that. And then, his solo work. Obviously the Black Star album.
Don't forget, I was going to say in 1998 they dropped that Black...
Was Black Star in 98?
It was 1998. Black Star came out.
Wow, okay.
Yes. Talib Kweli and Most Def dropped a classic on us. And a classic track, The Definition.
1998, wait a minute now. Okay, go on, because I could be wrong. And I'm not even saying that you don't do your research. I know you want it. But 1998 for Black Star? You
Black
sure?
Star. I'm almost positive. Yep, I'm pretty sure.
Almost.
Yo, internet world, check me. Check me. 1998.
I'm pretty sure 190. But man, okay, but that ain't even the point. When it was, the point is they came together and they made Black Star album.
Black Star album.
Right.
Arguably a classic. I think that was a classic album.
I think it's a classic.
Yes,
also,
sir.
the Reflection Eternal album.
Yes. Oh my
goodness. With him in High
yes.
Tech.
Yes, sir.
And because technically, like, Reflection Eternal plays as Kweli's solo album, kind of, but Reflection Eternal is actually the group name for him.
Right.
In High Tech, I don't know most of you guys who listen or watch the show know that already, so I'm not telling you nothing groundbreaking. Point of the matter is that he has his new album. What's his new album called, man?
Gutter Rainbows.
Ghetto. This album was actually supposed to be a prelude to another album that he has coming out called Prisoner of Consciousness.
Okay.
And I guess in the process of him making this album, I guess all of these joints he had, all of these, instead of putting it out as a mixer, he actually put it out as a digital only release. So that means that obviously you can't go to the store and get this album. You can only download it from your iTunes and that.
Okay.
So, but where are you on this album? This is your favorite MC, so I'm gonna let you go in.
Well, anyway, Talib Kweli. Let me first tell you about his style. Like I said, if you go back and check out what we said about him, Talib Kweli takes the whole track.
Yeah.
He fills in those little spaces, those little gaps with verses and his little comments and everything. He's a conscious rapper and everything. That's why I love Talib.
Okay.
He's like one of those guys. Yeah, he's like he has a power.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? He has a power.
What's that power?
He's a power. He's a lyrical genius.
He is.
You know what I'm saying? He's like Lex Luthor. How am I going to use my power? You know what I'm saying? He could probably be a mainstream rapper and just kill it. And just kill every MC out there. But no, he's in there, he's making a conscious decision to be a conscious rapper. And a lot of his tracks reflect that. And he still puts out great music. And this is no different. Talib Kweli is just that guy to get the job done. Now, it would be weird if this was a lyrically whack album, which it isn't. I mean, Talib Kweli going into it, it's going to be lyrically incredible.
Well, let me jump in right there. I'm going to start off with what I'm going to say about it by asking you a question. What does Talib, Nas, Jay-Z, KRS, Most Common, I could go on and on, but just the MCs I mentioned, what do they all have in common that you would think?
That they all have in common?
Yeah, what do they have in common?
They're all Negroes.
They're Negroes. Okay, let's try. I'm going to give you a second shot at it, though.
Okay.
Okay, what else do these guys have in common other than they're African American?
They're all from New York?
No, because Common's actually from Chicago.
That is right, isn't he?
Yep. So I know you're trying to be funny, but give me an honest answer. So what do these guys have in common, would you say?
Well, I mean, right now, their lyrical technique is incredible.
Okay, that's exactly what I wanted. they're great lyricists, and this is the issue I have with the album.
Okay.
Or the issue I have with Talib Kweli.
Watch it, that's my man now.
And all the other guys that we mentioned here is the fact that
okay.
Going in that lyrically is going to be off the hook. You already know it. It's like you don't even have to check it lyrically almost, right? But the problem is, because they're such lyrical geniuses, it's almost like you kind of take their lyricism for granted, meaning that now they're relying on their beats for a great album at this point.
Okay.
That's why I shake out on it, right? So you look at, like we talked before about Nas. Nas, I think, has been lyrically consistent throughout. He rarely puts out anything whack lyrically. However, some of his albums have been less than great because of the beat selection. I've talked to you before about Jay-Z, the fact that even though he has the best beat makers on his album, it plays pretty uneven in a lot of his albums. I don't care if it was the Blueprints, whatever. That's me. KRS-One, you could have, criminal minded, but you can also have spiritual minded. Right? Most Def, same deal. The Eclectic was a good album, wasn't great. But that lyrically is off the hook. It still doesn't beat Black on Both Sides.
Right.
Common, pretty much has been doing great, but Universal Magnetic, I think, is the Universal Magnetic album. I think it's Universal Magnetic.
Okay.
At any rate, point is, his last album to me was less than par. My point of the matter is, Talib Kweli has some good production on there. I don't think he has great production on there. Now obviously the lyrics, and let's go over some of the people he has on there. 88 Keys. 88 Keys, that's the intro, guys, so that doesn't even count. The intro's like a minute long, so I'm not even going to go in detail about 88 Keys and what type of beat he put on the album. Let me talk about the people I did like on the album.
Okay.
Oh No, who is Madlib's little brother. And we talked, and actually, Jean Grey actually says a verse on this song. We talked about the fact that, remember when I first played this? I'm listening to it, and I'm like, wait a minute. It's Nicki Minaj rapping on this album, right? So I'm thinking to myself, but obviously, with Talib Kweli being in the Strong Arm Steady crew, right? And nothing, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this. I think I know that this is his first album they released on his own Blacksmith Records album. So this is an independent release. Okay, just an FYI. Going back to what I said, I'm thinking Nicki Minaj is on there at first, right? But then I actually said, look, I know good and well he didn't put Nicki Minaj on this album ahead of his own crew partner, Jean Grey. I know he didn't, but obviously he didn't. So she gets on there. But the nasal delivery, I'm like, wait a minute. That sounds a lot like Nicki Minaj, but I've been, like I told you guys, and you guys are laughing, and we got people in the audience. I told you guys, I said, wait a minute, I know good and well that Jean Grey's been around before Nicki Minaj, because I've been listening to Jean Grey since I've had a computer in the early 2000s. Okay, so we already talked about that. But the beat is very much an Oh No type of beat, and if you know Oh No's production, I'm not going to go into detail, but I'm a big Oh No fan, and for him to be Madlib's little brother, but not to sound like a Madlib, I think it's great, and he separates himself with that. Some of the other beat makers on the album, now my favorite song on the album is the one that's produced by 6 Cent, man. Off the hook. As a matter of fact, as I'm talking about this, I'm trying to figure out here, bear with me here, I said, this dude, he comes in here, he should know exactly where Talib Kweli is or who is 6 Cent and that type of thing. So actually, as I stall you guys and get to Talib Kweli's Ain't Waiting, featuring Out of Sight, produced by 6 Cent. I mess with 6 Cent. Look up his production, man. His production is off the hook, and it shows up here on the song Ain't Waiting. Crisis, we know Crisis. He's done a lot of production for Justice League, as well as M-Phases also, who does the second track on the second track now, which is pretty solid. But other than that, the rest of the production, I think, is kind of hit or miss. Marco Polo, a lot of people love Marco Polo as a production. He has some production on there, too, as a brother, or he's a Caucasian brother. But the point of the matter is not that that's relevant at all. But a lot of people like him. He's out of Toronto. Okay? His production, for me, is hit or miss. Okay, you know what I mean, but it's okay. Crisis, I do like a lot of Crisis work. This one, I'm not a big Crisis guy on this album. Although the track he did with Ed Lover, come on, son.
That was nice.
But nice. Where you standing? I know I can go all day about the production side of things, but where are you on this, man?
Well, where I'm pretty much in agreement with you for the most part. Okay. The production-wise, it was hit or miss. Okay. For the most part, I did enjoy it. And what I did enjoy about this is it had that very organic feel. And I think Talib Kweli sounds the best over organic-type beats. And what I mean by organic, just almost simple beats. Like, you remember Just to Get By? That's one of my favorite.
That simple beat, though. That beat is a little bit more than simple, though.
Well, but hear me out. What I mean simple. It just has a simple piano. It's not dealing with the piano loop. And just when you have just like simple like a choir. When you have simple things like just simple instruments, things like that. Just very organic. Just very soulful to type beats. Kanye. Talib Kweli sounds great over these beats, and it has soulful a lot of these very, very, very soulful. And plus him spitting over them. I mean, he's a great lyricist, as we've said numerous times. But I mean, this one seems a little bit more soulful than his other albums. I don't know why, but it just seems to just pop out like that. Soulful. Okay. So that's where I stand pretty much on the album. I thought it was great. I thought it was a great effort. I thought it was a great album, and I would definitely check it. I would definitely check it out and tell anybody out there. Definitely worth checking out. Talib Kweli.
Well, here's the thing too. Let me go back before I actually rate the album here. Going back to the production side of things. Most of the production guys, I mean, most of these guys I've heard before. I think a lot of these guys are slept on. M Phases, I think, is severely slept on. Oh No, I think is slept on. Ski Beats is on here. If you don't, Ski Beats, man, shoot, Ski Beats is that dude. I talked to you about 6 Sense, Crisis, all these guys. All these guys are slept on. Marco Polo, even, you know, if you like them. Point of the matter is, though, they don't put their best work, I think, with Talib Kweli's album. That's why when they say that maybe in the midst of him putting together an album, the Prisoner of Consciousness, he probably put together some, pretty solid tracks and made this album. I feel him on that. It's not. I think that's his way of saying this is not my home run hitting album, but I'm gonna put some quality work out there because I think it is a quality album. But I wouldn't say that this is a classic or anything like that, and not that I expect everything to be. But see, again, like the MCs I mentioned before, the bar is set so high for these guys. Every time these guys put their name, spit a verse, I expect classic material, especially when it comes to production. Because when you have the type of clout and you're the type of MC like I just mentioned, like a Talib Kweli, you have access to whatever the heck you want beat-wise. I don't care. Like I said, you talked about Just to Get By. That's Kanye West's beat, and he rips that joint. He absolutely rips that joint. But again, let me go to rating it.
Go ahead, rate it.
Okay, if I go ahead and get it out of 5, so I'll give it a 3.
Okay.
3 out of 5. I think it's solid. I don't think it's his best work. I've read some things in the internet where people say this is his best work and that. I think that's a little... I wouldn't go there, But I think lyrically, I think it's exceptional. But you expect that,
right?
You expect that, but it's like this. The New England Patriots won 15-1, but they lost the Super Bowl. Great team, but you didn't win a big one.
Right.
Talib didn't win a big one this time. You know what I'm saying? So,
right. Again, all right. Another sports reference from I don't think we can get another through one of these segments without a sports analogy from my man Muff here.
Hey,
but I am a great agreement with you. When these guys set the bar so high for themselves, it's really hard to meet that mark. But in a lot of different ways, I thought Talib Kweli did hit that mark. Like the beats were a little bit hit or miss, but the lyrics were always there for me. And I do give Talib Kweli a lot of credit for that, and I give him kudos, and I don't take that for granted.
Yep.
So I'm going to rate this as 3.5.
Okay.
You know what? It made me say, Talib Kweli hasn't lost a step. He's still out there. I mean, KRS-One is my favorite MC of all. Number 2, Talib Kweli, he's that next dude. Trust me on that one.
Okay, well, there you have it, man. 3.5. You heard it from the Cipher. Solid album, not classic album.
No, not classic.
Lyrically is great, but beat-wise hit or miss. There you have it.
Gutter Rainbows, check it out, and
check it out.
Because the Cipher said so, son.
Peace.
I like Capadano on Ice Cream.
On Ice Cream, he ripped it on Ice Cream.
He ripped it on
that was odd. That's probably the sweetest verse from Capadano ever.
That is, man. That's my favorite from Capadano. Was that verse that he did on there. Because that's what gave him the right to stand with everybody else. You couldn't really say much of nothing after that. You gotta wait on the camera, dude. Say what's up. Introduce yourself.
What's up? My name's Sean.
Stop hamming. You always hamming. He tried to go to the radio station. Get in here. What you want to look at him doing on the radio for? He's silly. My goodness.